No, you're fine, thank you. Like I said, I usually bring my own. And
It's getting there.
this is not.
Thank you, sir.
It should be live and it's not showing.
Okay, I'll call it.
You know what I do for a living? You didn't charge us.
There we go.
Here and over there. Look at that. That's right. All right. Just right on the top there.
Here we have 2 sets of minutes in the accounts table. In the right order. Who wants the DLC and the bond Sunny invoices? You guys want those? Sunny, I think Sunny invoices. Wait, that was with one of the DLC. Okay. It is 5:59, so. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you can stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Speaking rules, any resident wishing to address the town council needs to stand and be acknowledged. Once you're recognized by the presiding officer, you may speak. However, there's no guarantee that you will be recognized. Non-residents who have an interest or information to share on a specific issue can also speak with consent of the town council. No person shall speak twice on the same issue except by majority consent of the council. However, any resident who has not spoken on the issue may ask for the floor, and he or she shall be the first to proceed. Debate shall be limited to 2 minutes for each speaker. Total time for debate on any question shall not exceed 10 minutes. No extension of time shall be allowed a speaker to debate a question except by unanimous consent of the town council. Once a matter has been the subject of a public hearing, residents will not be allowed to address the council on the matter at a subsequent council meeting. Residents may receive contact information for each of us from the town hall. As a matter of courtesy to those around you, cell phones should be placed on vibrate or silent. If you must answer a call, please do that outside of the meeting room. Sidebars or other distracting behavior will not be permitted. Any individual participating in distracting behavior will be asked to leave the meeting room so as not to disturb others. Time for open mic is 10 minutes. Barry.
Council President Cindy Ledoux.
Here.
Council Vice President Todd Fry.
Present.
Councilperson Sam Levine. Here. Councilperson Sonny Saylor Gordon.
Here.
And Michael Dice is not here, we do have a forum.
Okay, first order of business is approving the minutes for the June 8th and the June 12th meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the June 8th and the June 12th meeting.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, approving the financial statement.
I make a motion for the financial statement for the month of June.
I second the motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Approving the invoices.
I make a motion to approve the invoices for the month of June.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Approving the bank statements.
Make a motion to approve the bank statement for the month of June.
I second that motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Approval of the payroll reports and warrants.
I make a motion to approve the payroll
Reports and
reports
warrants.
and warrants.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on. Questions, concerns, remarks from the audience? If you did not sign in, would you please do so if you're going to speak? And then you do not need to give us an address or anything during that time. Yes, sir.
Where do we sign?
Back there at the
Go
door.
ahead, gentlemen. You sign.
For those of you that haven't been here to know to do that, we decided that when we moved to streaming that we didn't want people to have to give an address. And so we moved to a sign-in method so that way we had the information. Whoop. Yes, I totally just messed up the screen. Okay. Yes, ma'am. He's signing in and we'll come back to him. Yep.
I have a.
Can you make sure you speak up because I am having trouble hearing?
Sure. I came tonight because my plan is to put in an 8-foot privacy fence along the east side of my property. And I have spoken both with Jim Butner, since I am in the town, and the person that's on the other side of the property is county. I've also spoken with Logansport Planning Committee. Jim Butner, since I am in the town, he's president, he gave me the okay verbally. And I said, okay, I have spoken to my attorney, and I was told that I should get the okie dokie from you guys, since you're like over the town. So I'm asking tonight if it is okay with you that I also put up a 8-foot fence along the east side of my property, and if I can I please have that in writing, because I have a feeling I will have problems with the person on the east side of my property.
That sounds like an attorney issue.
I know. Let me email Brad, and then I can reach out or have him reach out to each of the council members and get that okay or whatever you need. Since he is not here this evening, he had an obligation this week, but I will reach out to him.
I need that, Cindy, if you don't mind, as quickly as you can, so
Okay.
that I can get on the,
So I don't think I will forget this as quickly, but text me later tonight and I will send an email tonight. But that way you will confirm that I have done that.
okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm.
And I am a neighbor adjacent to her, with the very same issue and would like to also put a
Okay.
date for the
So Karen, send me spellings, I mean, I know yours, but send me the spelling of her name, and so that way when I reach out to him, I'm using correct names.
Okay.
And send me actual addresses. Yeah,
Me?
for both of you. Yep, that way we'll take care of it from there. Okay, and then did you have something, or was that just did you have something to say? Okay, I wasn't sure whether that before was, so, okay, anybody else? We will have a comment session at the end also. Okay, Town Superintendent.
In addition to the daily test of the wastewater treatment, the water treatment work orders located the following were also done. Turn-offs was on the 2nd, meters was read on the 4th, water samples was taken on the 1st. Worked at the wastewater treatment plant the 2nd, the 4th, the 9th, the 10th, the 18th, and 19th. Yard waste was picked up the 2nd through the 4th, the 9th through the 11th, 16th through the 18th, the 23rd through the 25th. Mowing was done on the 4th, 11th, the 12th, the 18th, 19th, 25th, and 26th. Any questions from the council?
Anything? Okay, Joe?
The Axon equipment is coming in and is being used now. Everybody's got their own assigned code. The new vests have come in, so we have no issues with anybody having expired vests anymore. That's all I have right now. I don't have any numbers to give you guys because I'm dealing with all the Axon stuff, so I'm going to get those numbers.
I appreciate everything that you've done, Owen. And I know you really picked up your hours. So
Thanks.
I appreciate that. Okay, Parks and Recreation.
We met last Tuesday, and there's a few things I want to update you on. The first is that it is nice and cool in here. Thank the town for that. There's no way we would have had enough money as a park to put in new air conditioning. We have two new air conditioning furnace units, I believe. We did sign a maintenance contract, so hopefully we will not have, I see somebody shaking their hand. The maintenance contract, you'll get a copy of it, Barry. It is signed by both parties. We have ordered swings finally, and they should be in soon. We have, I do want to thank the town for getting me the address and phone number, contact information for the insurance company. We've got 2 insurance issues we're looking at, and the insurance agent has been extremely helpful. So that is good. I have heard her speak here. We are also getting ready to redo the parking lot. We did sign that contract. We're on the list. Who knows when it'll get done, but we're on the list. The only other thing I'd like to update you on is the playground equipment grant. This is coming from the Gathering Together Galveston group, and we did match with Patronicity, so that is $60,000 we're working total. That will get us the equipment for the 2 to 5-year-olds. And the playground equipment is expensive. We're looking through a few issues to get that grant to match what they need with what we need, vice versa. So that is done, and I'd like to thank the town and the town members and the businesses for providing funding for that piece of equipment. We're working on funding for the equipment for the older children. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Break ground on the starting the playground, putting out.
Excuse me?
Well, they start putting new equipment out.
I am told that the earliest would be October. It may be as late as next spring. So they're working on the deadline right now.
They were, when I talked to Bryce after we had matched, they were at October scheduling. But our problem is, as Marcia, as Marcia indicated, we're kind of in that, we try to be extremely transparent, and with going with the Community Foundation, that is something that Patronicity and the Community Foundation have never worked together. And so we're just trying to get them on the same page. There's no, Marcia talked to the Community Foundation last week, and it's going to happen. It's just a matter of getting on schedule. But I think Bryce went ahead and penciled this in for fall.
That's about it. It's early.
And we're very hopeful on that other piece as well, so. Okay. Planning, I don't think anybody is here from planning, and since Mike isn't here.
Can I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
Is the public notice to mention those members on that board?
We can, John, do you, it would be John Zook,
Yes.
Jim Buechner,
Yes.
Matt Martin. Who am I missing? But he's the liaison. Is it just a 3 board member?
I believe that's all.
Okay, so just the 3. I kept thinking there were 4. So those would be.
Terms where they're supposed to end and when they started, or?
That particular group doesn't. Part of it being that the later discussion tonight on the other planning and just not knowing rules at the time when some of that was happening, and the timing on the other we kept thinking was going to be sooner, and it was, let's not restructure, but we'll talk about that more when it gets to that. Public safety, okay.
All right. In the last month, a couple of things that we've done, we've got Joe Flory, who is acting as marshal for us at this time.
What's his name? I'm sorry?
Joe Flory.
Joe Flory?
Yes. A couple of the items I was going to talk about that we've been talking about in our meetings, he already hit on with the Axon cameras and the updated gear. A couple other things, we have hired Gary Glassburn to conduct inventory of the evidence room, and that will begin tomorrow. And we offered Boyer the opportunity to resign, which he did not, so we are moving forward with a disciplinary hearing. That's it.
Are we going to pay the last one?
Yes, we are.
I'll reach out to you.
Well, and
We'll have to approve that. That's-
I sort of said, Todd knows that when we start business, that there are some things with that, so you'll have updated information. So, nothing from BZA or ADA, and nothing from aviation. So, floodplain ordinance. We are going to actually do this a little bit differently, and I think I've explained this to the council. When we are done tonight, we are going to adjourn this meeting because this particular piece of information is one of those, and Aaron can probably help me explain this a little bit better. This comes from the state. It's a mandatory. You will do this, and we probably will redo this in just a few months if we actually do go ahead and join the county planning process. But it was one that we thought first we were going to wait, and then John and Sunny met with them, and it was, no, you need to do this. I am not going to read this ordinance like we usually do because it is so long, but I will tell you it is all the wording of the state other than where they had it highlighted and I went in and changed to our name and specific information. It's all floodplain things, it's there, but here's what we're doing tonight. We're adjourning, and then we are going to have a second meeting that only has the second reading of this ordinance on it, because that was the recommendation of our attorney rather than suspending rules and all of that. So we're technically going to do a second meeting and get that passed so that we have it to them by their August deadline. Okay, so the floodplain ordinance. I think you guys have all seen copies of it. We just need the motion to go ahead and accept that. And
I make a motion to accept the first reading of the floodplain ordinance.
Second motion.
we have a motion from Todd and a second from Sunny. Any discussion? Aaron, do you have any synopsis of what this really
So
says?
basically, some of the changes they had were like, if you had a lake which you don't, but it's basically a general copy paste for every place in Indiana, so they added that. They added some things regarding how to define something that has been destroyed multiple times within 10 years because it shouldn't be rebuilt, some definitions and those type of things, and then just clarifying some other items. So like you said, it's state and FEMA. FEMA makes the state do it, the state makes us do it, and then FEMA wants the ordinance to make sure we did it. So if you don't do it, you don't get disaster relief funds and all of those things, so.
And like I said, it's long.
Yes, very long.
So we have a motion and a second, no discussion other than Aaron explaining to us quickly. All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Okay. Additional appropriation, this is resolution 2020-603 that says, whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget, be it ordained that the town of Galveston, Cass County, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified subject to laws governing the same. The fund name is the Community Center, and it is a $30,000 transfer that covers the comforts in this room right now.
If I could interject.
Please.
You were talking about the parking lot and such. When that happens, we'll do another one because if it's not being grant funded.
I think they were planning on taking that out of the park funds, not the community center, but the park itself. And that they would have the funds, but we can talk to you about that part later.
No problem.
Because that, Barry, now that you mention that, and I need to come back to this, but we need to talk about whether we need to do town hall when they come and do the sealing on theirs. They're going to do some repairs on theirs as well. But I think town hall probably should be sealed. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, okay, so the additional appropriation is resolution 2020-603.
I make a motion to approve the additional appropriation resolution 2026-03.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Probably one of the most talked about things ahead of a meeting, and part of it was I was pretty generic, and what I put on there was Sycamore Street parking. The library and Vintage and More both approached me about was it possible to create some parking where there used to be town hall parking along the side of Sycamore. One of the problems with just dealing with that, and I immediately, before any other discussion started, called Justin because he owns a business at the end of Sycamore and had approached me in January about that, and I said, okay, can that wait just a little while in terms of some other things that we've got going on? But with all of it coming together at once, we need, and I'm not sure what the answer is. I know Drew brought a suggestion that the library and he would like to see happen, but I know that doesn't address Justin's needs. I think I reached out to each of you individually and said, this is going to be a topic of conversation. Go down through there, see if you can come up with any solutions. I don't know that we need an answer specifically tonight. Obviously, they're about ready to open the store, and they need, places for customers to park. But suggestions, ideas?
What's your ideal scenario in this situation?
I mean, my ideal situation is more parking.
Right, but how would you like that to come about?
I mean, I think obviously a lot of parking spots are blocked in the area. One of the protests I had was how do we differentiate between this business gets parking but this business doesn't, Obviously, we had some other concerns of people getting notices, having the police tell them move or they'll get towed, things like that, which is kind of contradicting to past practices out there. So I guess I would put more room, clear the street as much as reasonably possible.
Can I have a question? That street, that is a town street, correct? It is not private. Is that correct?
Part of the water. That's not treated.
You told me though, parts of it are private, right? There are some private entries and things,
Yes.
Yes.
so.
I'd like to make a motion to table this.
So do we need like a couple of council members to maybe meet with the business owners and John and try to come up with some kind of solution? Because tabling it just puts it back.
That would be a start.
I'd recommend an executive session so that you have the A, B, and C's.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can discuss it.
So, okay, so we have a motion, let's go ahead and do it, because she made a motion, so, do we have a second to that motion?
So do we really want to table it?
I don't know.
Yeah, because we won't be able to vote on it until after the executive session. I'll second the motion.
We have a motion to second, or to table it, and a second. All in favor of that? Aye.
So that can't come back up again until next meeting, is that accurate?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it has to be public.
Technically,
It has
yes,
to be public.
anything that we would act upon, but would it be appropriate at this point to say, let's have a couple of you kind of get together with John and the business owners to talk about solutions? And then I agree with Barry, maybe we need to have an executive session. I don't know, I think we can, Aaron, can we do that? Does that fit into the executive sessions? You know that part better than I do.
If legality wise, you can,
Okay,
just to understand what your legal, not to
okay.
act on anything, but just to.
Right, I know we can't act on it, but, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Anything that's gonna keep you legal, basically, you can have that executive session to talk about what are the proper procedures. to
Okay.
Go about doing whatever needs to be done.
okay,
Then if just thinking ahead, if progress is made, a special meeting could be held, okay? Where the action could be taken and voted on. But the first one, the executive session, no actions, it's all discussion and fact finding.
does that work for you guys? A couple of you want to volunteer?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so Todd and Sunny. John, you okay with that?
Yes.
And then they'll get with you guys as business owners, and, John Zook owns part of the property right through there. I think he needs to probably be involved in that as well. You guys okay with Drew asking a question? Okay,
I questioned something last week, and Dice did come out. So I've already met with him, we did a quick walkthrough, and then he went into the library and asked them some specific questions. So I already met with Dice. But you're tabling this now, so that basically, if I got a customer per se, drives by those no spots, I don't blame that person to not ever come back.
right, and
So
I
you're
understand.
delaying that possibility of an opening, because my basic concerns were parking and security.
Right.
So that's where I started.
Yeah, and as Barry said, we can do a special session. And I think everybody here understands the importance of that for all of the businesses, but it's important also for Justin's tenants. And I learned last week in talking to John that Zook does have some private right-of-way right there on those streets. So
Is
it's
that
something
grandfathered
that,
in?
it's something that we all need to understand.
Is
So
that grandfathered in or what?
it's part of the property itself.
And is that just
You know what?
his garage parts?
I'm
Or is that inside?
gonna be honest with you, that's part of what we we will need to look at is it something that really is still there with the building status the way it is? You know, and hopefully that can be done and ironed out in an executive session with them meeting with everybody to start with. John being able to say, I have this. And obviously then it gives them time to look at things with the county too, to say, this is what the property looks like.
Archery, which I don't know who's in charge of that. I don't know if they have any kind of say in their parking or not, because the other time, last Tuesday, they were parked, I think what you're calling is private, on the backside with 3 big old trucks, so.
Well, that's something that they'll look at. So bring that up when you're meeting with them. Okay, the old water tower property, we've had a request for us to consider. Obviously, you guys all got the email from them. They had given it to me a couple of months before, and then I was horrible and didn't send it out. Fortunately, they were very kind to me. But they would like for us to consider looking at selling that property. I don't know that that's something to take action on tonight, but again, maybe something that we need to study and look at, and what the process of that would be for, what the process of that would be, and if there's reasons to maintain the property ourselves.
That's what I was gonna say, what are the benefits to us keeping the property?
You still have a valve box that is active, so.
Oh,
That means nothing to me, so what's that
So
really mean?
you look, if you drive by the property, you'll see a blue box sticking up out of the ground. That is a hatch that raises up and you crawl down in it. And there's water valves down in there that are still connected to the system. So
you're saying it would not be wise for us to sell it?
This time, no.
Okay. Okay, so do we want to make a motion on how we handle that? Or whether we just say we're not selling, or?
I said, no, I'm good with that. But we can make a motion on anything.
I don't know, do we need to make a motion, or do we just say we're not doing it?
We can do it, say we did. I make a motion that we don't sell the property next to the old water tower.
I second that motion.
We have a second, or a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, DLZ invoice, I think Todd or Sam has those. This one's a CCMG one. Is the first one.
I make a motion to approve the DLZ invoice 2025-1 CCNG in the amount of $2,060.
A second motion.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, DLZ invoice on the PERSRF application.
Make a motion to approve the DLZ invoice PERSRF application asset management in the amount of $700 even.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Lawton Son, CCMG payout number 2. I may still have that. Do I have that?
No, we
You
got it.
have it, okay.
Real quick, I'm gonna need each of you to sign that one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm sending it to the state. Thanks.
It's to the top. So you were adding.
Yeah, that assumes that you approve.
I make a motion to approve the God and Son invoice in the amount of $163,427.07.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Oh, wait, any discussion? By the way, they are not quite done, but they are very, very close. There were a couple of things that were discussed when they came back that they need to come back and kind of do some touch up and some things. But I think John would say that he had a very pleasant experience working with this company. So, okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, before we get to area planning, we're gonna add one little thing. We have, Joe has the purchase order. We had already approved the purchasing of the cameras. So really, do you need us to approve this? Or
Well, if you would sign the purchase.
you just need us to sign
The purchase order.
Okay. And then this one, the Safe Flight Defense has to do with it, but I don't think it was in the amount that we approved. So do you need a motion on it?
Is there a purchase order?
There is a purchase
You have
order.
to sign the purchase order.
Okay. Okay, so these are both things that went along with the body cams. And we had approved those earlier, but because of the amounts they are, the purchase order needs done.
One of those is the best, the Safe Light's the best.
Oh, the Safe Flight is the best. Okay. So we had done both of them though. Okay. That one's, and then here's the 2 purchase orders. Okay, Erin. Let me find my copy. Because on this one. Okay, I did have this. Barry, I know you handed me this.
What are you talking
Oh, no, it's this one. Never mind.
Got it?
Yep. Because that's so, I had set that one over there, and so I was thinking this was the big thick ordinance. I have not signed that one yet. And I'm sure they would like to be paid. Okay, Cass County Commissioners Ordinance number 2026, and we don't know what their number is. Jointly with the Galveston Town Council Ordinance number 2026-07, this is an ordinance of the Cass County Commissioners and Galveston Town Council establishing an area plan commission. Whereas Cass County is a political subdivision of the state of Indiana, whereas Galveston is a town located within Cass County. Whereas the county commissioners and town of Galveston Council are desirous of improving the health, safety, convenience, and welfare of its citizens, and to plan for the future development of Cass County to the end. 1, that highway systems be carefully planned. 2, that new communities grow only with adequate public way, utility, health, educational, and recreational facilities. 3, that the needs of agriculture, industry, and business be recognized in future growth. 4, that residential areas provide healthful surroundings for family life. And 5, that the growth of the community is commensurate with and promotive of the efficient and economical use of public funds. Whereas pursuant to Indiana Code 3674-202, a county may adopt an ordinance adopting the area planning law, fix a date for the establishment of the area planning department, and provide for the appointment of the representatives to the commission. Now, therefore be it ordained by the Commissioners of Cass County, Indiana, and the Galveston Town Council, Indiana, as follows. The Cass County Commissioners and Galveston Town Council hereby adopt the area planning law as contained by Indiana Code 3674. The establishment of the Area Planning Commission and Area Board of Zoning Appeals shall be fixed effective the date of both the following occurring. A, enactment of this ordinance and adoption of a corresponding ordinance by the Town of Galveston approving participation in the Cass County Area Planning Commission and the Area Board of Zoning Appeals. B, if passed by the Galveston Town Council and County Commissioners within 60 days of each other. The Cass County Area Planning Commission and Area Board of Zoning Appeals are hereby established. A, membership of both entities shall be appointed pursuant to Indiana Code 3674. B, pursuant to Indiana Code 3674-208, the county commissioners designate the Cass County surveyor shall fill the statutory specified planning commission member position by virtue of holding that title. Members appointed as such and not by virtue of office shall serve at the pleasure of their appointing officials. Members shall serve in the accordance of Indiana Code 3674. Upon the effective date of the area zoning ordinance assuming jurisdiction within the town of Galveston, all planning, zoning, subdivision control, development review, variance, special exception, zoning enforcement, and related land use authority previously exercised by the town of Galveston, its advisory planning commission, and its Board of Zoning Appeals shall be transferred to and exercised by the Cass County Area Planning Commission and Area Board of Zoning Appeals in accordance with Indiana Code 3674. Any planning, zoning, subdivision control, development, and land use ordinances of the town of Galveston that are inconsistent with the area zoning ordinance or other regulations adopted by the Area Planning Commission shall be deemed superseded upon the effective date of the area zoning ordinance. All new applications, petitions, variances, special exceptions, enforcement matters, records, files, and proceedings relating to planning and zoning matters shall be assigned to the Area Planning Commission or Area Board of Zoning Appeals as appropriate for further administration and disposition. If any section, provision, or part of this ordinance is adjudged, invalid or unconstitutional, such adjudication shall not affect the validity of the ordinance as a whole or any section, provision, or part thereof not adjudged invalid or unconstitutional. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and publication as provided by law. Both the Advisory Planning Commissions and Board of Zoning Appeals, BZA, for both Cass County and the town of Galveston shall remain in full operation until, with the approval of the legislative bodies of both the county and town of Galveston, the area zoning ordinance is enacted, on which date the Advisory Planning Commissions and individual BZA shall dissolve, and the Area Planning Commission and Area BZA shall take over their duties. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and it just goes on then. This is not an official passing, it's the first reading, so I won't go on with the rest of that.
So how do you want to state this motion? Is it this Cass County Commissioner ordinance?
It's an ordinance that both of you are gonna be on, so it's both your ordinances,
So
basically.
sit that and the Galveston?
We'll be in.
Okay.
So
Make a
you'll
motion.
sign first and then they'll sign it after next time.
Okay, I make a motion for the first reading of the Cass County Commissioner ordinance number 2026 and Galveston Town Council orders number 2026-07. Is that good enough?
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Well, I probably should say, and an ordinance of Cass County Commissioner and Galveston Town Council establishing an area planning commission. That makes sense.
Erin, I'm going to ask you to kind of share a little bit, because I know we've got 9 or 10 people that have been watching. I'm sure this will probably be one of our most viewed. That would be fine, because it'll probably be picked up a little bit better here.
Seems like where everybody else came to. So I'm Erin Shaver. I am currently the planning director for Cass County, Walton, and Logansport. And so we've been talking for quite some time now about having Galveston join on. And instead of being its own advisory, it would come under the Cass County Plan Commission, become an area plan commission. So what that does is this is just the first step in multiple steps of getting this approved. So this is just saying, yes, we want to move forward with it, and the commissioner's saying on their meeting, yes, we want to move forward with it. Then we would actually have to establish the zoning districts. We'd have to establish the zoning ordinances. We'd have to establish the subdivision, the comprehensive plan. All the things that that area plan commission would regulate would still have to be adopted. So there'll be public hearings on all of those. And then just for most people, which I think is the biggest concern of, oh, we're just going to get regulation like Logansport, or we're just going to get regulation like the county. What we do is we actually look, and we have the meeting about Galveston and understanding Galveston a little bit more of how they want us, based off council, how the standards are and maybe some areas we need to change. what happens is when we do that public hearing, it goes through the area plan commission and they will do the public hearing and do recommendations. They will do a recommendation to Galveston Town Council. They will also do a recommendation to Cass County Commissioners. Cass County Commissioners can approve the sections they like. Galveston can approve sections they like. If there's something in there that Galveston says this is not something that we want to regulate, or we need to regulate more, or however that would work out, it still comes back to the town council to make those final rulings. So any law that I would be enforcing would come from the approval of Galveston Town Council, not just the county and the area plan commission. So the final stop is with town council. So even if the commissioners and the plan commission really want something, they still have the opportunity to say no. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Can you explain to them what the main benefit of going with county is? Benefits.
Yeah, so I know that currently there was some discussion of it a little bit ago. There's some, who do you get a hold of? How do you apply for a permit? Meeting once a month. We do everything. Do you get it that day? Maybe not, but you get an answer or know how to apply for that permit. All of our stuff is online. We have staff to be able to talk to you and talk you through what you need to do. So that's some of the benefit. Obviously, I am AICP, so I'm a licensed planner. I went to school for planning, so you have someone that legally knows land use law and how to stay legal. And so I think that's another benefit as well.
So with this instance that we were discussing earlier, would that be something that?
Yes, that would be, yeah. So she called us. I don't know if I talked to her. I know about it. And I said, "Ooh, you're right inside, so you need to call the town." And so what we do is we look at the ordinance. So I don't know how much the current plan commission says we're okay with it versus actually studying your ordinance, which is the adopted law, to say yes you can or no you can't. I've not been involved in that plan commission, but that's what we do. So we make sure that if the law says you have to do it this way, that's the way you have to do it. That way there's no question from the neighbor that you did it incorrectly or you can't do that. We make sure that all of that is followed.
So the parking issue too would be another thing that you guys could?
It depends. So uses on actual properties is one. Parking on off-street is one. On-street parking would still fall under the Galveston Town Council. But yes, from landscaping to signage to parking to lights to fences to decks, garages, sheds, anything basically. We would be reviewing to make sure it met the standards that you guys put in place.
That's a question. So would the criteria on what's deemed to be like a work that requires a permit be the same as it is now? Because not all municipals have the same.
So that would be something that would be determined by the area plan commission. So they would say, here's the fee schedule and here are the things that need permits. We do have some things in the county, which, like I said, it would actually come back to whether or not the Galveston Town Council approves it, but where we just want to review, like a fence. It's $10 only because we want to make sure that it's where it's supposed to be, the height it's supposed to be, and those type of things. But it's not like, oh, because you spent this value, there's this cost to it. So we do have, typically for business and commercial, we do have, it's like, I think it's $100 of any building code changes, just to make sure that our building commissioner, which is something you don't have, would come out and inspect, making sure it's up to building code, since it would be open to the public. So those are some of the things that we would have with the permitting, but again, it's not established. So until we actually adopt these ordinances, they actually put people on a plan commission, we haven't had those discussions. What I've done is just kind of met with some of the town council to understand what are the changes we're going to need to make to the ordinance so that I'm not starting brand new when we start this plan commission, because it would take a very long time. It's, hundreds of pages. So I've kind of tried to do that ahead of time so that it's not as stringent of a process when we actually get the board established. Yes.
I have a question, and this kind of goes back historical. A lot of people have always said, when can we start cleaning this town up? And we didn't have ordinances or whatever to follow through. If we're going to, with Logansport now, did I understand right that if we have a home that is in such dilapidated shape that trees are growing through, or the ever junkyard, to start cleaning it up, are we going to be under you, but the final decision of whatever is always to the town board? Because the problem in the past was, and I'm going to say it, we had the Good Old Boys Club on the town board, and so they always made sure that the decisions went with the Good Old Boy Club. Thankfully, we have had all new town board members who want to do the best for our town, but are we going to be able to see in the future, as we move with you, are we going to be able to see changes?
Yeah, so,
I'm going to clarify something first, because she said Logansport.
Yeah.
It is Cass County.
Yeah, I guess, no, that's okay, I'm 3 jurisdictions already, so.
No, I know that, but I don't want Logansport as.
Yeah, they're their own, they're not coming in, they're over here, we're over here, Cass County, Galveston, but, just same staff, because people like to split costs, so. But anyway, so yes and no. We would be able to establish the current ordinances based off whoever is currently here. If, let's say this switches out and there's a whole new board, there's that opportunity, but not as likely as once was, I guess I should say. So, because it has to go through the area planning commission, public hearing, those type of things before it even gets to town council, they aren't just able to change things without anybody's knowledge or do anything like that. Regarding some of the things that you guys already have, they are, someone said grandfathered in earlier, so some of those uses are grandfathered in. Now, I will say, I know there's discussion about on the street. So grandfathered in uses are typically on that personal property. If it's public, that's a different scenario. So that's something that you guys will probably be checking into and looking into on that. With that being said, that doesn't mean that it is one of those grandfathered in where they can still, stockpile. So what's there is there kind of deal. So if it's a dilapidated home, you also have your unsafe ordinance. Currently, your guys' unsafe ordinance does go to planning commission, I'm pretty sure. So that will be another thing we'll have to discuss, because if we go into area plan, that dissolves the other plan commission, and so we would have to relook at that ordinance to see who the enforcement body is. We do currently in Cass County unsafe, so we tear down homes, we clean up properties, we do that already. So that's part of our day-to-day stuff we already do. So it's nothing new to us if we would help you out with that. That was a lot, but planning and zoning is a lot, I think, so.
So after it goes through the county and then we would vote on it, then who enforces it? Is the county enforces it then at the end?
So it's staff that would enforce all the regulations that are put in place. So we have myself, a zoning administrator, and we have a secretary, and then a part-time assistant, and then a building commissioner. So those would all be your staff as well for Galveston.
If you have not watched one of their planning meetings, I would highly recommend that you do that. I had not until the other day when somebody shared something online. And I've talked to all of them and I knew their roles and everything, but I had never actually seen one of their meetings and how those things acted out. I was really quite impressed. The discussion, they had a property that their building commissioner, I think Ralph, that's his title, right? The person was in the process of evicting someone, and their board said, he was requesting additional time for the guy to be able to clean up the property based on that. it was just very professional in terms of how the whole thing panned out, because they were like, it takes longer than that to evict someone, so shouldn't we give him longer? So I highly recommend going and watching one of the county planning meetings just to get an idea of how that process works.
And we've actually, if you go, I don't know, a couple months back, we've had some public hearings regarding, I don't want to mention them, but like data centers, carbon sequestration, and all of that. So it kind of show you the process, if you're interested in that, of how that discussion back and forth happens too.
So how does the initial part take place? Does it take a citizen going to you guys saying, hey, this property is unsafe? Or does someone come through and look around to see?
I would say I would love to be able to have all the time in the world. But again, I did name how many people are, and we're already 3 jurisdictions in the whole county. So we do base it a lot off of complaints. We do while we're out, and my building inspector's out, see if there's properties being built, see if there's properties that are having problems. So while we're out and about, we're always looking, but you just can't cover everywhere. So we do a lot of it complaint-based.
Complaints online, or are they also online, or are they written?
They are not online.
Okay.
We typically require you call in, and we do like to have you state, I mean, we don't tell people, but we don't like to do it anonymous, because we've had people actually send us letters in the mail anonymously of like every week 20 different properties, and there's no way that we can handle that load. So, you know, we try to make sure that it's something that someone's very, you know, concerned about versus, well, you picked on me, here's 100 that we want you to go look at. So, but yeah, so that's one of the things that we do. Again, the unsafe is part of that discussion as well once that planning commission is created.
Question, if this is allowed, are you going to add 1 member possibly, or are you going to stick with the 8 members that's on the plan?
So how this works is Galveston will get 1 member to the plan
And the
commission.
town council,
They would appoint,
Okay.
it can be whoever, they can appoint someone to the plan commission. Yep, so there will be someone from Galveston on that board. And then the state code says commissioners get this many, county council gets this many, and then some are just citizens and some are, like the surveyor is just required by office.
Any other questions? Okay, we had a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I didn't hear everybody, so. Okay, motion carries.
That's the first reading.
That's the first reading. And that one will go on the next, yeah, it'll be done in August. Unlike this other one that kind of has a state timeline. All right, there was no old business, unless I totally messed something up. I'm going to come back. I got an email this week. You are going to still do golf cart registration? Yes, no?
Yeah, I can't remember what date.
It was sometime in September.
I think the email was supposed to be sent out, well, but obviously, but yeah.
Yeah. Is it even worthwhile to do it at that point, since the technical season is more or less over? And I know we have an ordinance that says that it needs to be done, but, okay, I will check with Brad. Because if we can possibly, can we go ahead and do a motion on what everybody thinks? If you want it definitely done, then go ahead. But if Brad says that we can forego it this year, to go ahead and do that?
Well, let me interject. We
Okay.
do have people that come in and have paid.
Oh, we have some that have paid?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
all right.
I think we should make it.
Okay, then, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll do a reach alert down the road as we get closer to it.
Okay, all right. Well, and now that you say that, I do remember telling Diane early on, go ahead and just take names, that way we did know and we were prepared, so. And then, did you see that the copy of the new ordinance that we did clarify that they're not paying, if they've never had it registered, they'll pay the 25. And that part will be taken care of in your office, right?
Well, I mean, if they just show up with Joe, then I'm gonna have to frisk him afterwards, so, you know.
What day of the week is that?
I honestly can't remember.
I don't remember
I don't
either.
have it here, but
'Cause-
it's September something.
I know, but I'm just thinking if it's not done during a work day, they will need to have gone in and paid ahead of time and have. I'll go back and check that. We've got a month or so to figure out a plan on it.
We'll coordinate.
I just can't remember what day of the week it was. Okay, we're back to any questions from the audience?
No, we need to vote on his hired people.
Oh, we do. Yes, I forgot. Thank you. It wasn't in my notes.
The safety board voted to give Joe the ability to hire a couple part-timers, 2 or 3, I think it was. But we need to approve the financial aspect of it. I think it was $25. Wasn't it, Cayenne, 25?
Yes.
$25. So I'd like to make a motion that Joe has the authority to pay up to $25 per hour for any potential hirees for the police department.
I second that motion.
Motion the second. Any discussion? I'm sure Joe would like to hire several.
It would help.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, and then because I think you need to approve the pay for the guy doing the evidence room.
Evidence room.
Because we told Barry we would have that for him. The evidence room guy. I think
Did
it's-
you, was it $30 an hour?
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve the pay of $30 an hour for Gary Glassburn to do the evidence room for the police department.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you for working on that. I know they kept running into brick walls. State police no longer do that, from what I understand, and then they were running into some issues with some
I
other.
think he has his name right in, Glassburn.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
I'm just curious what the status might be on the bridge.
Are we all?
Okay, Sunny and I feel confident saying this, although I didn't hear that they actually got the shims in, did you?
We were there working.
Oh, they were working today, okay, that's good news.
There's a lot of meetings there.
We went to a meeting, very appreciative that the commissioners arranged a meeting with several of the key NDOT people for this particular project. They are quite embarrassed. Let me know, this is not, it is their project, but they obviously contracted it out, and they are very, very much aware that there have been nightmares. This is one that I said after this meeting, that if we were not directly in the middle of this, it could be, the scenes could be thrown into a comedy movie, and you would almost think that they were really funny.
Yeah.
Obviously, living in the middle of it, we are not. So their latest is that these shims were to have been delivered last Friday, and if they were working today, that means that they were. And with those being here, their deadline, their projected timeline is September 1st. I will tell you that Ed Schroeder, because of the event at Grissom, was walking by, and one of the commissioners saw him and called him into the room, and they started talking about things. NDOT was hopeful, not promising, but hopeful that they could even move up before, that they could get it done before that last weekend in August. They are very aware. They've done some notice to the contractors. There are some definite issues that they have addressed, but it truly was crazy that the number of things that could go wrong. My favorite of all of them was it was a 4-shaft bridge, and on shaft number 4, they dropped a piece of equipment down it, And that meant that the integrity could not be passed as far as inspection. I will give NDOT credit for that. I realize you cannot do this on a bridge, but I think if I was an inspector, I'd be very prone to say, I didn't know anything about that piece of equipment being dropped down. Just go right ahead. And they are not willing to cut any corners. I mean, the one thing that I feel very comfortable saying is the people that have said, I wouldn't drive across it, NDOT has not let anything get by. John, Sonny.
That's everything in a nutshell.
Do they happen to say if there are any other potential problems that could arise, or we crossed all that we could possibly cross?
No, it's still possible. There's
Still possible, something could-
Other glitches, yeah.
Yeah.
If all goes
I mean, something
well-
could happen with concrete things that they're pouring now. That could definitely be in the way things have gone. But like to give you an idea, the shims that they're talking about, the day that August 14th was being shared by everybody online, we had gotten the invitation as a council to go to this meeting with the commissioners. And the date ended up changing, and when they sent me the revised date, it was, and by the way, Cindy, the newest date is September 1st, but he didn't tell me what year. So I mean, they were trying, but in all of that, the August 14th date that had been shared that day, because I'm looking at people that I knew going, yeah, it's not August 14th anymore. The shims had been contracted out to a company when they realized the article that was in the paper said this is a design error, and the shims are the answer. When those shims were contracted out, that company took 2 weeks to decide they could not create them. And so they ended up having to find another company, which is then that September 1st deadline. We didn't know until this meeting what that change was, but that was it. The shims, they couldn't take them down. One end was 1/8 of an inch, and this other company couldn't get them to that thickness, or thinness, I guess, is really more it. So September 1st is the current, barring anything crazy, but I am glad to hear that they were down there today.
Can you share about the fixing of the road, maybe?
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll actually let John probably share a little bit more on that, but they will come in and fix our roads. John, have you talked to David anymore?
I have not. David and I talked a little bit after we left that meeting.
David is Cass County Highway.
Yes. And as we all know, the guardrail was hit a week ago. The crew and I, we did attempt to fix it. The county is aware of it. One of the things we've talked about is possibly before the road is replacing that culvert in that area. So that guardrail may be left in that condition until the road repair. We're looking at possibly trying to get a contractor in here. We had received a quote from Central Paving to do the road repairs. Since then, with the condition of some of the roadways, it's going to be a deeper repair to the county roads and to the town roads as well. So it's going to have to be rebid, and hopefully we can still get a contractor in after the bridge is open, the highway is open in this year yet. But it could be possible that it's in the spring of 27.
Brad?
Is NDOT going to help with that, or is that county?
On the repair?
Yes.
NDOT knows that they're helping with that. David spoke very clearly to them that, like John said, they had an original bid. The figure that was in the Tribune, the Ferris Tribune, was $350,000. David made it very clear last Thursday in the meeting that is no longer an acceptable number. So they know that that's going to be theirs. And the reason that we're referring to David is it's going to be to everybody's benefit for this to all be bid as one. And so Cass County is kind of leading the way on that. They're definitely talking to John and working with him to let him know what's going on. But they are leading this particular project. Karen?
John, is anybody looking at 1,000 East as far as the bridge over the creek there? Because now when you drive over it, you can feel the culverts for all the weight that's going on there.
They have talked about that as well. That was part of the discussion.
Because that's scary almost.
So,
And that's part of where all of this has changed, because when they did this first part, it was probably after the first delay that David had that bid, right? I think there had been one delay, maybe two delays.
yeah, at least two.
But it's obviously been a lot more since then. You know, I truly know David's biggest concern right now is whether a local contractor will be able to fit this in by the end of the year. You know, I mean, they're going to push, and they know, but we also know that all of the contractors at that point in the year are trying to finish all of the projects that they have out on grants and things, that the money is going to go away. So he made it very clear to NDOT that while his goal is to get it done by the end of this year, he may need to have a discussion about how do we keep it operable until spring, and then we do.
Well, maybe based on when they fix the bridge too.
Well, and it will be, because if it's, you know, he can't enter a contract until he knows when it's going to be done. You know, September 1st is a projection, so.
Is my road Lincoln or 1,000 East, will it go all the way up to 18 to replace that road, street?
I'm not so sure what the quote was with Lincoln.
Because the potholes from all the weight has gotten worse.
Yeah, and obviously what the previous quote was is very, you know, it is very likely to have changed. I mean, that's what I said. David made it very clear to them. What had been discussed before was no longer the acceptable. It had been a mill and fill before, and it's definitely much more now, and we'll have to go deeper.
Even the spots that the highway department had came in back in late spring and done a deep repair.
Right.
I mean, anybody that travels that can, you know, it's already pushing and deteriorating, so.
Okay, anything?
Sorry.
No.
Forgive me, I don't know the name of the street, but the one that comes down past the trailer park, comes around the curve into Washington Street.
Deer Creek.
Deer Creek. I really hope that that's on the plan to get addressed as well by NDOT or county. Hopefully somebody's looking at that. That's picked up a tremendous amount of traffic as well to cut through town to get to Lincoln.
Okay, Brad, send me a message with that and making sure that you include the amount of traffic that is picked up, and then I'll forward it to John to get to them. Okay? Anything else? Yeah?
Are you guys still paying Nick Boyer? Is the town still paying him?
We are.
And why?
So in the process, we met, and the safety board has met with Brad. While they have now given him, kind of give me the word that is used. What's the status that you've given him?
We'll be having a disciplinary hearing.
Okay. And then at that point, once those things have happened, they have not been able to vote until that hearing happens. They cannot vote to terminate him. Once they vote to terminate him, then we would not pay him.
But he already voided his contract by what he did.
But he is still under contract until this particular process is done. This is going by state law and making sure that we follow process. As much as, you know, we may not like it, you know, we still have to make sure that we follow everything to avoid any kind of lawsuits.
I have a question for Joe. Are you keeping a close eye on Maple Street? With the semis, the people running this four-way stop?
I'm trying to be there as much as I can. The last few weeks have been incredibly, I guess you'd say loaded down with work. I want to say it was last week or the week before, I can't remember. Either way, it was just within the last couple of weeks. I had, I want to say 4 or 5 Zoom call meetings with the Axon rep to watch the body camera stuff, and those were 3 to 4 hours a piece, most of them, or whatever. And then so that obviously took up a lot of my time, but whenever I'm not doing admin things in the office that I have to do or catch up on, I'm always trying to drive down Maple and try to pull over as many semis as I can and stop traffic.
That's why the safety board gave them the approval to hire 2 or 3, so we can take some of it off of them.
And I've told the other 2, I mean, they've been extremely busy too, which is why they haven't been here lately, but I have told the other 2 as well, like when you guys are working, please make sure that you're hitting these areas. And from what I know is they have when they're here, but they will work for the county, they have the fair stuff, so they have to work at the fair a lot.
With that said, I don't understand why we can't get some sort of assistance from the county, even on a state level, to help assist with this. All this traffic is rerouting through our community here. And, it's almost like we're forgotten.
Yeah, well, that's something we can touch base with Sheriff's Order maybe.
We can ask again, but I know, his thing has been, he tries to send somebody out this way whenever he can, but he's working 2 to 3 people covering an entire county. So.
Anybody has permission to sit in my driveway, watch that 4-way stop.
Well, the issue
And
with...
then people running it, not stopping.
I understand. I mean, the issue with that is that if, I sit somewhere, then there's people somewhere else on another side of town saying, hey, why aren't you watching my stop sign too? And so that's why I always try to drive, I mean, when this stuff really became an issue, just to see how many miles I was driving when I was working, and Galveston's a small town, so, but I was averaging like 46 miles while I was working here, just because I was trying to be everywhere at once, which is impossible, but, it's hard because when people started complaining about the speeding on Maple, well, before Maple, in the 1950s, there were nights where I would sit right where you can pull into the water plant, that little gravel drive, and I would run radar. And sometimes I'd hit somebody, sometimes everybody would be going 38 miles an hour, or 35 or whatever. Sometimes I'd drive down it and I'd get a speeder. I mean, it's hit or miss whether you're there when it's happening, but I'm trying to be everywhere that I can.
It's between 4 and 6 p.m.
And early in the morning.
Yeah,
Yes.
early in the morning if I'm here, I do it also, but it was funny that you say that because one of the things was I had sat there one night from I think it was 10:30 till I went home at 6 a.m. And I would leave it periodically to go drive a lap, and then but the majority of it I sat there and ran a radar because we had so many complaints about it. The whole time I was there, 35 miles an hour, 38, and I thought, well, it's like something. And that was the other thing, is I asked one of the county guys when he was in the area to come down and see if he could see my car or anything, and he said no, he didn't see me at all. So I thought, well, that's not it either, but it's sometimes you're there when it's happening, sometimes you're not. Prime example also was I was dealing with a runaway juvenile north of town, and I was out of my car trying to get a hold of her so that she doesn't get hit or whatever, and as I'm doing that, semi goes driving by. Well, obviously I can't stop the semi. It's sometimes the way it works. But I've been trying extremely hard to be everywhere at once and stop things that I can stop.
I just don't know how much more my mailbox can take.
I talked to somebody that told me their third one is sitting there now, so, yeah.
Believe me, I have been extremely frustrated about all of these issues.
You have to go out at least once a week and pound the door, the rim back so that we can get our mail in or out.
Okay, good.
Okay, do we have anything else? All
Lots.
right, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, and as I said, I've got to figure this out. Should I end